Okay, I heard a couple of people. Let's try that one more time. Make sure we got a lot of energy in the room. Gonna act like we won a Powerball today because everybody want to be rich. So, how's everybody doing? Alright, cool. So, my name is LJ. I'm gonna give y'all a few poems, and yeah, y'all ready? Yeah. There's a quote that says that if you ever want to hide the truth from somebody, put it in a book. Ever since I've been able to pick up a book and turn a page, I've always questioned what I read. But there are some questions in life that you just don't want the answers to, unless you're curious like a little monkey searching for an adventure. And because of that, I always find myself in tight spots without a man wearing a yellow hat to help me maneuver elsewhere. But I've always looked at this world as being an open book to possibilities, so naturally, I should be well knowledgeable in distinguishing the difference between what is fact and fiction. But facts are becoming more fabricated than the paper they are printed on. Case in point, September 11th, 2001, it is stated that America suffered its first terrorist attack on its own soil by the use of airplanes. But this country doesn't want to recall the Tulsa race riots of 1921, when America dispatched 6 biplanes to Tulsa to drop incendiary bombs and fire rounds on a so-called uprising, killing over 300 folks. But maybe they didn't see this as terrorism, but more like a chance to burn an old crop to render it useless. Now once, I stumbled across a book on medicine, and from there began to pick up the pace how we are always racing towards a cure. Now sure, advances have become costly over the years, but the price of life and intelligence has made up for it easy. I mean, the Ohio State prison system once injected live cancer cells in the inmates to find some type of results, while FDA manufactured a new drug to calm down children's mild complaints by taking placebo, spelling it backwards, just to redistribute it as Omicron to help double their profits. I'm now starting to question the authenticity within this written scripture, so I guess it's best that I look towards a good book, because they said it in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and God's Word will always reign supreme, as long as it's the King James Version. No way.
Come on.
No, it has to be the New International one, or one of the other 50 that was produced since the original. So if the red ink that I'm reading isn't actually coming from him, what am I to believe? How can I state these facts for us Americans to understand when America doesn't even have an official language to comprehend? Food for thought. There are more libraries built here than McDonald's, but we're so quick to intake toxins over knowledge, we find it easier to digest. Facts have become a ninth wonder wishing to still exist. And I know, I'm at the folk festival, on this stage, sounding like I'm getting high off my own words. But that will be no different than taking a Declaration of Independence, rolling it up, and smoking it since it was written on hemp paper. Now, Patrick Henry was asked to help draft the Constitution because he refused that he stated because he smelled a rat. Now, years later, you have more than one running around Capitol Hill, cutting up government cheese to feed these low-income neighborhoods. But come to think about it, if a pro is a positive and a con is a negative, then I guess the opposite of progress should be Congress. But like I said, ever since I've been able to pick up a book and turn the page, I've always questioned what I read. Which means it may be better to know a little more than a lot. But what can I determine now if we don't even know the difference between what is fact and fiction? Thank you. So we got a lot of mixed soldiers up here performing for y'all. I know my man Jeremy is a Marine. My friend Life's a Marine. I did 7 years in the military. I did 7 years in the Army, as a matter of fact. Did 2 tours over in Iraq, so it's definitely good to be back home, fight for a good cause, and definitely doing spoken word poetry. So who would think? Get out the military, you start doing spoken word. Yay. So, yeah. So I try to make this as eventful as possible, especially with tackling a couple of subjects. So the next poem is something I did yesterday, and it's one of the poems that's near and dear to me, and this actually deals with my military experience. Even with doing 7.5 years, sometimes you get in a situation when you get out the military, you're looking for a lot of jobs, and sometimes you don't find what you're looking for. So sometimes you end up being in a state where you hit rock bottom. I can tell you, I'm a product of being a homeless person for a time being. I found a way out of it. I had good people get me out of that situation to do what I'm doing now. But there are some people that aren't so lucky. And then even with that being said, there are people that you don't know the situation, and a lot of people like judge before they know the entire situation. So this next poem is based off of that. and a person I met back in Savannah, a homeless person that was playing the saxophone dressed in BDUs. One of the soldiers that I had under me went up to him, a young soldier, and was like, so I guess you got homeless because you didn't know what you were doing. If you know anything about the military, then there's one thing I will tell you. If you don't know about Vietnam vets, read about and look up or talk to Vietnam vets, especially African-American Vietnam vets, because a lot of us Vietnam vets or African-American Vietnam vets came back from the war, did not have nothing to come back to. A lot of jobs wasn't hiring, so he lost his home, lost his family. The only thing he was left with was the clothes he had and the saxophone. And that, along with my own personal experience, made this poem right here. Left. Left, right. Left, right, left. They say to always practice your cadence because practice makes perfect. Left. Left behind a lot of things to get to where I am. Right. Right choices are what I thought were being made as people's eyes transform into escalators because they can't seem to make less stairs. Left. Father said that the military can turn boys into men. Right. But never fully explain how some paths come to the end of the road. Left, right. Father knew this cadence very well. Once was a decorated soldier who now became a shell-shocked replica of his past. So these steps are now embedded in his brain. The voices that are now starting to climb up his vertebrae are telling him the best way to hide from his problems is to run. So he left, right, left a son wanting to go overseas to fight the war just to come right back when the war is over. But when you're exposed to the same BS as your father, how do you expect not to have a mindset to match? Left, the old me thousands of miles back in the dirt. Right, to be back in my own country, now living in the dirt. Left, a war-torn country with patriotism as my job. Right to patriotism, becoming a painful reminder that it may not get you a job once it is done with you. Right to a bottle to drink away my sorrow. Left with the empty bottle to remind me of promises and commitments unfulfilled. Excuse my forgetfulness. Seems that my mind is starting to leave me like all of my family has. Now I'm left without a pot to piss in, right into my own clothing. Can't be pissed off if I'm pissed on, right? Left with medals of merit, but nothing is right when these medals don't get you an app. I swear, if I can afford a smartphone, that may be my best way to keep my hands on a lot of them. Left, standing in the road asking for change, right in front of you standing in the road with my hands out asking you for change. Excuse me, is your name Isaac Hayes? Because your song must be playing in the background and you think you can just walk on by. Left, fighting wars like I no longer win when my right to freedom of speech seems null and void. Why put a price on truth if people choose they can't afford to pay attention? So what is there left to do when everything you love and fought hard for is turned its back on you? You pray that death is right around the corner because it can come so easy. Left. Left. Right. Left, right, left. They say to always practice your cadence because practice makes perfect, especially when there's nothing left. Right? Left. Everybody say yay. Yay. Okay, cool. I did not want to bring y'all down with that poem, so okay. Woo! Okay. So, last poem I'm gonna do real quick. A lot of us are also, like a lot of us being vets, we do a lot in our communities. We also do a lot traveling abroad as well. A few of us did bring like product in case you guys want to take us home in a book or CD form, because some of us are in committed relationships, so you know you can't kidnap us. So, but with that being said, I do have a book and I have CDs, so if you guys want one, please get with me after the event, because you got some awesome artists getting ready to come up in here. And this next poem is actually from one of my products as well. So, to set y'all up, I was thinking, how do you relate American tragedies to a cooking show? I know, right? I see that talk to y'all. I don't even know how that's gonna happen. It's fine. I know. But you know, we gonna try it. And if y'all don't like it, you know, just bob your head and smile. You know, y'all may not see me again. But, you know. So this poem is called "Recipe for Disaster." So I hope y'all enjoy it. Okay. All right. So here you go. So y'all seen cooking shows, right? Y'all know how it goes. Everybody's all happy. You know, we talk about ingredients. That's what we're gonna do. Evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Recipe for Disaster. I'm your host. Today, we'll bring you some of this country's best creations that have left their mark upon history. I hope your taste buds are ready to stomach what we have planned for you. And with that being said, let's get into our courses for today. This beginning entree requires a strong will to digest it. First, we add 1 2-year-old daughter and a party girl, which happens to be her mother. Then we'll add 31 days of a child going unnoticed, skeletal remains, several inconsistent falsehoods to an alibi, and a verdict of not guilty, and voila! We have this wonderful dish called Gone Baby Kaylee Surprise. We would like to thank Casey Anthony for sending this recipe in to us. Our first thought was we hope to get away with it just like she did. Now, these next two entrees sound similar, so pay attention to the subtle differences. The first involves you mixing 9 African Americans, a Caucasian, a .45 caliber pistol, and an AME church, while the other involves you mixing 5 U.S. soldiers, a Palestinian, an AK-47, and a military installation. Now, even though both of these involve murder and mass homicide, one is known as the hate crime, while the other is known as the act of terrorism. The way to spot the difference is the coloring of the finished product. You see, the darker the catalyst, the more the American tongue will deem it bitter, call it terrorist, thug, and destroy it on sight without asking any questions. But if it's lighter, then the flaws are excusable. Call it bad parenting, a child defect. You can even have a white supremacist mix this up and we'll say it's wrong on all sides. Now, this last entree has the makings of being extraordinary. Since black lives happen to be the things on everyone's tongue, we'll use this as the base. Now we'll decorate it with strangulation marks, bullet holes, and place it in the center of dress blue officers whose colors of trust now represents fear. Let's have a taste. Seems like there's going to be a mixed reaction on everybody's tongues, but not to worry, we'll just add some additives. Here's a dash of Stacy and a pinch of Don Lennon, because those are 2 items that's known to sell out. For all you dietary nuts that want your weight raped away from you, here's some pills distributed by Bill Cosby and R. Kelly, but caution, they're known for causing drowsiness, and we'll flush this all down with some of the best water that's unfiltered from Flint, Michigan. Oh. So, I know y'all like this stuff, but it looks like my time is up to bring up the next artist. But tune in next week and we'll show you how this trash bag can become a prisoner's noose in a jail cell. And hopefully, like Sandra, it won't turn out bland. Once again, I'm your host. And remember our motto, it's not about how much it disgusts you. It's all about how much you're willing to swallow. Thank you and good night.